All right, another fun little card trick that you can do with a spectator. Say I've got a deck of cards here. It looks pretty big stuff. Actually, it needs a little bit more mixing. It looks like we got a lot of black cards right there. Let's get this mixed up. In fact, you're going to help me. Let's split this deck in half. It's about right there. Yeah, it's about half the deck. So I want you to shuffle up those cards however you want to, and they can shuffle them up any way they want, like this. You can show them how while they're shuffling their pack. You can be shuffling yours as well. You can be doing some of this kind of stuff. And so get them all nice and mixed up because we want this to be really fair, and they will do that. Let's give them another good little shuffle here. All right, so once they've got them all shuffled and you've got yours all mixed up, you say, now, here's what we're going to do, and now we're going to really make a mess of this. We've been shuffling the cards anyway, but if we do this, it's really going to be a problem now, because watch this. Now we're going to not only shuffle them up, we're going to mix them up and mess them up like that. As you can see, the cards are going to really be messed up. But that's what will make this more of a fair choice. And now it's time for you to select a card. And here's how that's going to work. I'm going to spread the deck like this, and I want you to select any one of the face down cards, but I want you to really think about it. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go through and I'm just going to slowly do this because I want you to concentrate a little bit. As I touch the back of a face down card like this, I want you to decide on the one that you want. You just say stop, and I'll go very slowly. And you can even say no, move on to the next one if you want to. But we want to make sure that you land on the face down card that you want. Absolute free choice. So I'm going to be doing this, and give them a couple of seconds. Is that the one you want? No. Okay. We'll try for this one. And we can go right on down the packet like this, right on down the deck, until they decide the one that they want. Okay? We're going to go down here. You want to keep going farther? That's totally fine. Okay? Going like this. Now there's the next one. You want to stop there. Okay, so if you want, we can go back one, or we can go forward one. If this is the one you want to stay with this one. Okay, so you're going to take that card. We're going to scoop up the deck and put it away. We don't need it anymore because we've got it all mixed up, and you have freely selected a card, face down card from that shuffled up deck. And it's my job to try and read your mind. I want you to think about your card, think about the color. It's either black or red. And I think you're thinking of a red card. And there's only two kinds of red cards. There's diamonds and there's hearts. Hearts represent more feelings and love, and diamonds represent more material things like money. And I think you're leaning toward that one. You're thinking more about the diamond. So I think you've chosen a diamond. There are 13 diamonds though, ace through king. And I think you're leaning toward a high card. I have a funny feeling you have a court card. You're thinking of a diamond. That's one of the 3 court cards, and I'm going to say it's a jack of diamonds, and I would be right. Okay, so that is a really cool way to use what? The Si Stebbins principle. That's right. This is Si Stebbins again, because this is a Si Stebbins series video, and I'm going to show you what we just did. And in getting this reset here, because I got to get this back in order, I want to tell you something about Si Stebbins that if you don't know what Si Stebbins is, by the way, I should have said this, you need to know to do this trick. I've got a link in the description. Whenever I make a Si Stebbins video in this series, there's a link that explains what Si Stebbins is. In a nutshell, it means it's a stacked deck. The cards are in a particular order that's easy to memorize. They can be cut but not shuffled. And the magician knows the order of the cards from a reference card. So if you're not familiar with that, you need to watch my Si Stebbins tutorial. Like I said, I've got a link to it. Now, let me get these reset. What I want to say to you about Si Stebbins is, when you're practicing with your Si Stebbins deck, it's a bummer if you shuffle it because it gets all messed up and you got to, reset it. Kind of like it's a bummer to make a tutorial because I got to reset this and say, but I can at least edit that out. So I'm going to get these back in Si Stebbins order here in a second, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what we're doing. Okay? Okay, I'm back. What I started to say was when you're working with a Si Stebbins deck, of course, it can't be shuffled. But when you're performing a Si Stebbins trick, you don't have to be afraid to shuffle the deck once you've already used the principle to discover the card. It's okay to shuffle the cards. It's also okay to use just a partial deck that's in stack order, and you can do some great tricks, which is what I just did. So what we have here in this particular case is we have half of a Si Stebbins stack. This half, in this case, okay? So these are all, it's the ace of clubs through the jack of diamonds. That's the beginning of the Si Stebbins stack, so we'll just use that in this example. But it can be any any section of the Si Stebbins stack you want to use, but you want 26 cards that are stacked. The other 26 are not. Obviously, we had our spectator mix up this half of the pack, and so that's how the trick starts. Okay, so what happens is, and by the way, I should also say this, it's really important that you know the Si Stebbins stack in this. You're going to have to be able to be pretty good at it and have a little bit of practice of knowing the next card in the stack without doing too much calculation, okay? But I'll show you how to do that. So anyway, we start the deck, or start the trick like you saw. So we're going to shuffle up these cards. And notice when I spread them, I really focus over here because these cards are shuffled. This is the half that is. This is the half that's stacked. So we really need to shuffle these cards. Oh, look, I got a lot of red cards here. Let's get these mixed up a little bit better. So what I'm doing is I'm going to split the deck. I'm going to act like I'm splitting it approximately in half. It's actually exactly in half. I know that my Si Stebbins stack ended on the Jack of Diamonds, so I'm going through, looking through that. Say, here, let's split the deck up about half. I think that's about it right there. Yeah, take that half and get them mixed up. Now, the principle here is for you to focus on them shuffling and you just doing a little bit in the background because you can't shuffle. You're just going to be cutting your cards, or if there's really a lot of attention on you, you can do some false shuffling. I did what's called a charlier, which is like this. You can look up my false shuffling video if you want to see how that works, but that's really not a shuffle. It's really just a cut. But anyway, you're going to be doing this while you're talking to them and focusing on them, and you're just going to be cutting. You can do some false cutting if you want or whatever, and you can even do some of this. Flip it around and go this. Just as long as you put everything back in order, right? So the point is they get these all shuffled. Okay, so now let's assume they've shuffled this half of the deck. What you want to do is we're going to take our stacked half, which is over here, and we're going to turn it face up. They won't notice anything. And we're going to really shuffle them now by going face down, face up. So the reason why we want to do these face up is because I need a reference card. This is how this works, because this could have ended up anyway. Could have ended up like that, right? So let's say we end up like this. When I turn these cards over, as the magician, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to remember that ace of clubs, because that ace of clubs is going to tell me the order of the rest of the stack, because I know the Si Stebbins stack, right? So as I'm going to shuffle them like this, and that's all fine. We can even show them they're really goofy. And then we're going to flip them over so that the stack half is face down. If I go like this, what I've got is my Si Stebbins stacked half of the deck all face down, which ends in an ace of clubs because they peaked. There's no big deal. Didn't matter if I saw it from their standpoint. I have to see something, and I saw an ace of clubs, which tells me what the next card is up here. If this is the ace of clubs and I know my Si Stebbins stack, I know this is a 4 of hearts, right? Which means I know that this is a 7 of spades. And I can go on down like that. And that's why I'm going to just point to these cards and make a big deal about going slow and say, when I point to a face down card, you tell me when to stop. And when I stop, that will be the card you choose. And what I'm really doing is I'm using my Si Stebbins principle to know what these cards are. So again, this is ace of clubs. Right? We peeked at that. So I'm starting here with the 4 of hearts. I know that's a 4 of hearts. And as I'm pointing to them in my mind, I'm going 4 of hearts, 7 of spades, 10 of diamonds, king of clubs. That's what I'm saying in my head, right? 3 of hearts. And I don't have to say anything. You can do this quietly if you want, if it's easier for you. And keep on going. That's going to be a 6, right? That one's going to be the 9 of diamonds. That one's going to be, again, queen of clubs. So you get the idea. Let's say they stop us here. And in my head, if you go slow, by the way, they'll have a tendency to not want to work all the way down. So it'll be a little easier on go slow. So they stop here. So I'm all done with the trick now. I already know, because of the stack, I already know that's queen of clubs. I want to scoop up everything, put it away, get rid of all the evidence, and focus on them, their thought, and what they're thinking of. Play it up however you want. And, of course, it'll be the queen of clubs. Okay, so the real secret to that is to know your Si Stebbins, right? You really want to be able to do that in your head, maybe even be able to talk a little bit while you're doing it. But if you don't want to talk, you can just go real slow, and you can say, hey, we're going to do this quietly so that you can concentrate. and we'll just use the Si Stebbins principle to find their card. So there are so many ways to use the Si Stebbins deck. This is just one of them. There's so many ways, and there's because of the mathematical principle of Si Stebbins, it's extremely versatile. Once you know a reference card, you know the rest of the pack, the rest of the deck, or the rest of the packet, whatever we're working with. And then, of course, if you continue on and do another trick and shuffle the deck, you really get rid of the evidence of having used the Si Stebbins principle. So just another quick idea for using that great 100-year-old principle called Si Stebbins.